Hey, Paul, I appreciate the chance we have to get together today. I don't know if there's anything we have that will help you, but what I'll do is go through the areas in which we work, such as keep increasing cash flow, reducing debt, and reducing taxes. And we also specialize in life insurance and annuities to possibly shave years off your retirement date. After that, if there's any interest on your part, I'll gather some information and we'll get back together at another point and go through some specifics. Okay? So there's nothing to buy here, so just relax. Okay, first, uh, I work with Ancora Financial. We're a national company with more than 70 offices nationwide, and we represent several insurance companies and financial institutions, some of which have hundreds of $billions in assets and have been in business for over 100 years. Strong companies. Our goal, what we do is we teach people about money, how it works, and how to make it work better for you. Our goal is one thing: to help people become financially independent, and that means that the money you're earning on your interest you're earning on your savings is will replace the money that you've earned in your business or salary over the years. Now, do you want to know how to get there the quickest? Okay, great. That's where I'm headed. Okay, first I want to go through the issues, some of the issues and challenges that face us today, and then we'll talk about solutions. Okay, first look at the last 10 years. Incomes have risen, yes, but 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 living costs keep going up and up. And what happened? So the incomes haven't really been keeping up with the cost of living for housing, food, and electric stuff like that. All right, and what happens is people tend to get into debt. Lack of security steps in. Poor saving habits ensue, which creates real problems. Now, out of 100 people, say there were 100 people in this room. Out of all those people, they're 65 years old, ready to retire. How many of them do you think would be financially secure? Okay, that's a good guess. Actually, the number is seven. 7 out of 100 would be ready to retire. And so, what happens to the other 93? Well, many of them rely on family, many of them rely on charity, and many of them, which is probably the majority, are still working. Look at all the people, look at all the seniors working at Walmart. Okay, now here are the solutions. We work in areas involving 7 steps to help you build your financial future. We weave these steps together to help people increase cash flow, get out of debt, reduce taxes, and retire as soon as possible, if desired. The goal here is to become financially independent the quickest. So I'm going to run through these real quick, okay? But stop me if you have any questions. And keep in mind your biggest priorities, and then we could develop a strategy later on, okay? Step one is inspect what to expect. In order to have more money for your future goals and dreams, you need to know where your money's going now. Part of understanding how money works and how to make it work better for you is knowing where your money goes. Well, we'll introduce you to a tool where you can track your earnings and expenditures so you can inspect what to expect. The goal here is to free up extra money you didn't know you had. It could be used to pay off a debt or applied toward future goals and dreams and maybe shave years off your retirement date. Okay? So step number 2 is increasing cash flow. So Paul, how would you define cash flow? That's great. Now let's also define it as this. Monthly cash flow is what's left over at the end of each month, after all money comes in and expenses go out. We work with companies that specialize in helping in increasing. We work with companies that specialize in help reducing the cost of your debt. Okay, and let me ask you a question. Did you get a tax refund last year, or did you owe money on taxes? Okay, that's great. Uh, I had a guy a couple of weeks ago that said he got about $3,000 a year back. And I asked him, I said, so what you're telling me is you allow the government to hold $3,000 of your money for over a year and then give it back to you with 0% interest. And he said, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And Paul, it doesn't. So it's not how much you make, it's what you keep. And if you're not careful, taxes can hurt you. There are ways to take that money as it's being earned and put it back into your budget to earn money for you instead of the government. Okay. Step 3 is eliminating debt. All right, and we want to help people eliminate debt. So we have a debt eliminator plan. This chart shows it right here. If you look here, this is an actual client. He has They have $190,000 in total debt between a mortgage, car loan, credit card, and store credit card. So if they're using their current plan, they should make the same payments every month. They'll be out of debt in 26.8 years. So now, if you look at the second chart, uh, this is a similar situation, but he has $190,000 in debt, and but the debt gets paid off in 13.1 years. It's the same debt, same monthly payment, same mortgage, no refinancing, but you're out of debt in 13.1 years. So if you pay the money to yourself instead of the government, you could potentially be out of debt in 13.1 years. Okay? And possibly have $500,000 for retirement. Now, if you want, I'll gather some information And when we get back together, I could show you your own debt eliminator plan specific to your needs. Okay? Okay, great. Step 4 is developing an emergency fund. What I find is most people don't have one. And have you ever tried to build an emergency fund in a checking account? Doesn't happen. It's fair game. The money will get spent. So when an emergency comes up, such as a transmission for the car, it costs $1,800. Out comes the plastic. So we suggest we encourage people to have a separate account, such as a money market, where you when and the sound emergency fund has to have is 4 keys. Number one, it's got to be safe. It's got to be liquid. It's got to get a better rate of return than a checking account, and it's got to be separate and systematic. So, like I said, if you get a money market, you can have money drafted from your checking account into the money market every month, say $50 a month. And when something comes up, you have the money. And it helps keep your credit card balances at zero, and it helps you from dipping into your retirement savings and avoiding that 10% tax penalty. Okay, so that's step 4. Step 5 is protect what you have. By utilizing life insurance, you can protect against the loss of income. Loss of life means loss of income. It's pretty devastating when mom and dad have 3 kids and suddenly something happens. Dad is gone. It's devastating. Now, who's going to pay the mortgage? Who's going to pay for the food, the electric bill? That's what's devastating, right? So part of a good financial plan is proper life insurance to replace income, and it also sets up an immediate estate. So here we do it different. We look at a person's financial needs and bring back options that will save them money, increase cash flow, and help with proper life insurance, replacing income. Okay. Step 6 is the biggest, and if you'll listen to me, this could change the quality of your life. And okay, Paul, step 6 is the biggest one. And if you'll listen to me, it could change the quality of your life. This is the one everybody likes the best. It's about building long-term income or long-term savings. All right, and now there's 2 elements at play here, 2 financial battles that you have to win in order to win the money game. Okay, they are inflation and uh, and 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 the inflation battle and the tax battle, because it's not what you make, it's what you keep. If you're not careful, taxes will hurt you. So, okay, let's talk about inflation. All right, and no wait. All right, the inflation battle and the tax battle in order to win the money game. Because if you don't incorporate these two, now I can be strong with you, right? The chances of you retiring is way out there, or it may not happen. So listen close. All right, there are two battles. Okay, like I said. All right, let's talk about inflation. Have you heard the Rule 72? Okay, I'll explain it to you. It's really interesting. The Rule 72 is whatever interest rate you're earning now on the money that you're saving. Let's say 4%, make it easy. Uh, you divide the 4 into 72 and you get 18. So it takes 18 years to double your money. All right. Now, let's say you had $100 in a savings account getting 4%. Okay, you're 29 years old, you got $100, and 18 years from now, it doubles to 200. Okay, and then in another 18 years, it doubles to 400. But here's the problem: 36 years from now, will $400 buys what $100 buys today? Probably not. So you could you so here's the problem. Yeah. So you could see where the problem is. That's inflation. Now, if people are saving money, where are they saving? Typically banks, credit unions, fixed accounts, and others, where they're probably not even getting 4%. Okay, and let's say so the money is growing, but inflation is growing much quicker. They're losing purchasing powers, and they may never retire. That's a big, big problem. The solution is to help them obtain a potentially better interest rate. Say a person could get 6 to 12%. Look at this example. Let's say there's a guy, 29 years old, got $10,000. Okay, now using this approach, the 4%, it takes him 18 years to double his money. So 10% in 36 years becomes $40,000. You're 65, the kids are gone, the house is paid, and you're ready to retire. But you've got 60 or $40,000 to your name. That's a big, big problem. How long do you think that'll last you? Well, the rate you spend probably half that time. Just kidding. And maybe a year or so if you're really frugal, and then you're out of money, and you're a greeter at Walmart. But here's the problem: we've run out of time. Who wants to work past 65? The only thing we could have changed is the interest rate. And here's the $1 million question: if you could have gotten 6 to 12% instead of 4%, will you now have greater financial independence? Absolutely. Look at this. At 6%, your money grows at 12 years, doubles. At 8%, it doubles every 9 years. 12%, it doubles every 6 years. So in 36 years, at age 65, getting 12%, you would have, look at this, $640,000. $640,000. I'd say the guy in the first example is pretty upset because he didn't know about the winning the inflation battle and the tax battle. So it cost him $600,000. Man, that's amazing. Now the only difference between this guy and that guy is the interest rate. Not more money, not more time. Same age, same amount of money. The only difference is the interest rate. but it cost this guy $600,000. So, Paul, that's a pretty important principle for you to learn, don't you think? Sure. Okay. Now, if you will save for you at a decent interest rate, there may be a time when you're not out earning your money. Your money's out earning you. That's pretty awesome, huh? So the $1 million question is, where can you get a decent rate of return, but yet have the protection of principal, where you're actually guaranteed not to lose money? Actually, there are three different strategies. First is the fixed approach, where you get a guaranteed rate. It's lower, typically 2 to 3%, maybe lower. And then at the other end of the spectrum is the stock market and mutual funds, where you have the potential for big gains. And then you also have the potential to lose money. Now, the fixed rate approach incorporates both. You get it, or an index strategy incorporates, but kind of incorporates both. You get a rate of return, and then your principal is protected against any downside market risk. Okay, now the money's linked, not in, not in the stock market. The money's linked to the S&P 500. You know what that is? Okay, well, the S&P 500 is the top 500 companies in the United States, representing over 100 industry groups such as technology, healthcare, and other things. And the S&P 500 has averaged more around 10% every year for the last 25 years. So if you would get 10%, if you had invested in the S&P 500 25 years ago, and you were getting 10%, you'd be pretty happy, wouldn't you, Paul? That'd be dancing in the streets. Now, okay, now, so which one do you think makes the most sense to you? Now, when we get back together, I know what you're interested in. Okay, great. Okay. All right. So you want the index strategy. Okay. That's a very popular strategy, Paul. Let's talk a minute about it. You've heard, and okay. Now, what we do is the money is linked to the S&P 500 up to a cap, say 12%. Okay, so you can't earn any interest above that cap. However, you can't lose money. Okay, where you have your principals protected, and the interest earned on the money is protected as well. And keep in mind, S&P 500 has earned on average 10% over the past 25 years. Okay, and now you can't just win the rate of return battle and forget about taxes. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story that will shock you. Okay, and oh, now let's see. All right, let's go. Let's say you had $10,000 and you invested it in the index strategy linked to the S&P. Okay, and let's take a 3-year period. So the first year, the S&P gains 10%, you gain 10%. Your money becomes $11,000. Let's say in the second year, you gain another 10%. So your money earns is up to $12,100 now. But what if in the third year the stock market went down 20%? Your money stays level. You don't lose any money, which you can in the stock market. Okay, now isn't that important? Isn't that important for you to learn, Paul? Okay, and okay, now you can't win the rate of return battle and forget about taxes. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story that will shock you. Uh, let's say there was a guy, he's 29 years old, and he went to the bank 30 years ago and said he wanted to have $1 million in the bank by the time he was 60. The banker went and did calculations, and he came back and said to the guy, "You have to put away $1,639.29 every month for 30 years at 5% interest to have $1 million." Well, the guy was thoroughly disgusted, and he turned and walked out of the bank and never saved a dime. Yep, he's a greeter at Walmart. So now, what if we could have gotten the guy 10% instead of 5%? If you look at this chart here, uh, the 10 it's down to $900. Now, not many people can save $900 a month. That's a lot for them, but it's a significant drop. It's $700 less. So, what if you could still get the 10% interest and defer the payment of taxes? So now you're earning interest and you don't have to pay tax and you defer tax payment till later. Look at this number. It goes down to $438. Now lots of people can afford that, right, Paul? Hey, yeah, you're blowing it, man. You can afford that. Okay, and see, it's not about having a ton to put away. It's about putting away uh, um, what you can at a decent interest rate, deferring taxes, and okay, and avoid the loss of principal. In fact, in step 6, when we are done, a person knows how and when they're going to be financially secure. And if we do it right, we can literally shave years off that retirement date. So that's pretty cool, right, Paul? Okay, if you were financially independent right now and you had enough money in your nest egg that you had enough money every month, you didn't have to work anymore. What would you be doing? What would you and your family be doing? What are your goals? What are your dreams? Think about it. House at the beach, boat, taking cruises. Think about it. Okay, now think about it. If you were financially independent, you have options, and that's the point. You can do what you want, when you want, how you want. Okay? And in fact, it was interesting the other day, I went through the implementation phase with a client. That's the second visit. And the wife was so excited, she stood up and said, I could go all to all my neighbors, knock on their doors, and ask them if they know when they're going to be financially independent. And you know what? None of them would know, but I do. And Paul, at that point, her and her husband became one because they knew what their goals and dreams were and when it was going to happen. That's pretty powerful stuff. And in fact, that's step six. Now, step seven is estate planning. You know, a lot of times using a trust upon death so you can leave a legacy instead of headaches and possible tax burdens for your survivors. How a trust can help you avoid probate and protect against liabilities. But it's also important to have a will or living will. Remember the lady Terry Schiavo was incapacitated several years ago? The whole world argued about what should happen to her. Imagine if she would have had a living will, the heartache and devastation that family could have avoided. So it's important to have a living will. Okay, now you engage. We suggest you engage an attorney for that specializes in estate planning. If not, the other option is you use a company that helps you fill out the documentation for simple estates. Okay, and okay, great. So that's step seven. Okay, so those are the seven steps, Paul. That's pretty cool, aren't they? Now let me ask you a very important question. Of those seven steps, if you had to narrow it down to two, between increasing cash flow, eliminating debt, creating an emergency fund, life insurance protection, building long-term financial uh, independence, and tax planning, which is critical, and estate planning. If you could only pick two, which two would they be? Okay, great. Good choices. Now, let me tell you what we do. We do what's called a financial needs analysis so that we can make sure the products we offer are suitable for you. Where in a second, I'll ask you a few questions to help determine what your needs are and what your goals and dreams are. Then I'll take this back to the office where we have a very sophisticated software program where we'll input your information and it'll help us develop a plan of attack specific to your goals and dreams. And we will help you become one thing. Yes, financially independent the soonest. So it's awesome. Now, let me tell you the cost of this. When I come back, Paul, I'm going to expect hot chocolate chip cookies, fresh out of the oven, which you personally baked, with a big glass of milk. I'm just kidding. Now, let me tell you what it really costs so you'll know. The companies you choose to link up with pay us a referral or a commission. So you don't get a bill from us for services rendered. So it's a win-win situation. However, the information I bring back will only be as accurate as the information we put in. So work with me here, okay? Because we are talking about your financial future. And if we do this right, we could possibly shave years off your retirement date. Now, the first four questions are yes or no answers. I can't have a maybe. Okay, so work with me here. And then I proceed into the financial needs analysis.